What's up, everyone? Welcome into Dodger Heads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Matthew Moreno and Blake Williams, here to talk a little bit of preview for a big series starting today against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Matt, as you said, the Dodgers were first to the scene of the crime in Arizona when the Dodgers were stunningly swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks last year in the NLDS. Before we get into pitching matchups and who's hitting well and who's not, Matt, I'm curious. You guys were there. Like, do you think the Dodgers have some demons they need to exercise? Do you think there's a little more on their mind as they head into this early season series against the Diamondbacks?
I don't necessarily know if if they feel they need to exercise some demons there, because I mean, they could sweep this series and it's certainly not going to make up for anything that happened last October. And I know that their quotes about it during the offseason and again heading into this matchup tonight have been, no, we're not worried about playing them, or there isn't any added motivation. Maybe like for the most part that might be true, but I think in some cases for certain players there might be a little extra something. Like, these guys are competitive athletes playing, at the highest level in the game. Like, I find it hard to believe that you would be going back to face a team for, not only are you back in Arizona, but it's the first time they're seeing the Diamondbacks in the regular season since last year. I know they played them in spring training, but that doesn't count. So for me, maybe I'm projecting and I want there to be a little bit of extra motivation, with the caveat of understanding, like I said, anything that happens, in these next 3 games don't change October. And hey, my positive spin on it is Blake and I were out there to witness history with Lance Lynn.
There you go. There you go. Blake, what do you think? I mean, I imagine for most players, there's obviously a bunch of new guys who weren't around last year on both teams. On the flip side, if I'm a guy like Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman, I don't know how much I'm thinking about this. That said, you've been in the media rooms. Like, I'm sure they're going to be asked about it, right? Like, so I imagine it's going to be made into a story, even if in the minds of the guys actually on the field, it doesn't deserve to be.
Yeah, I think that's true. All the players and Dave Roberts are going to play it down as much as they can. They're just going to say it's just another series. It doesn't change last year. We're focused on winning every game we can this year, and our ultimate goal is to win a World Series this year. They can't go back and change the past, of course. So I don't think they're going to say anything too much about it besides for those kind of things. And like you said, it's a pretty different roster. The entire starting rotation is different than what they had last year. They, of course, lost JD Martinez and replaced him with Shohei Ohtani. They made a few other changes in their outfield and just around their team. So there might be in the back of the heads of a few players like, hey, let's get a little revenge here. But I really don't think it's going to be that much. It's just another series for them. They're focused on winning. They're focused on this year and winning this year.
Well, you mentioned, I mean, I was looking at the probable pitchers for the series. The Dodgers, James Paxton, Landon Knack, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. None of those guys participated. On the other side, Tommy Henry and Jordan Montgomery are the first 2 projected starters with a TBD for game 3. So we're talking about 6 players who did not even participate, who are going to be taking the ball in the first inning of all of these games. And it's worth pointing out as well, the Diamondbacks, as we sit here, are 13-16. They're 4-7 in their last 11 games, despite having a positive run differential, one of the best run differentials in the National League. Jordan Montgomery is back after his prolonged sort of free agency thing, but Merrill Kelly is out for more than a month with a shoulder injury. Former Dodger Eduardo Rodriguez is on the 60-day IL, jokingly, former Dodger, by the way, with a lat strain that turned into shoulder soreness. Corbin Carroll, one of the best players in Major League Baseball last year, is hitting 196 with a 550 OPS through about 100 at-bats. And so it's kind of an interesting matchup when you say, okay, Merrill Kelly, one of the better pitchers, not out. Eduardo Rodriguez, one of the big free agent signings, not there. Corbin Carroll, one of their best players, not playing well. Blake, what are your expectations going in? Again, Paxton versus Henry, Knack versus Montgomery, and then Yamamoto versus maybe Zach Gallen, although he's kind of nursing an injury, so he might get pushed back a day.
Well, yeah, TBD was the starter for the Dodgers in Game 3 last year for most of that series up until they actually named someone. So good to see him getting the start for the Diamondbacks now. But my expectations are they're going to continue going to play good baseball. It's going to be interesting to see what Landon Knack does versus a non-Nationals team. I think Yoshinobu has taken a step forward or been pretty consistent in most of his starts, and a lot of his underlying numbers suggest he's one of the better starters in baseball. So no real concern there. I think the main question is going to be how Paxton fares, if he can cut down on his walks and start getting some more strikeouts, keep runners off base, because that's been a big issue for him. And if he doesn't, the Diamondbacks are a good enough team to take advantage of those mistakes and maybe bump his ERA up a good amount. So that's kind of the start I'm most looking forward to, I think, because Paxton has been so inconsistent. I have a lot of faith that Yamamoto is going to be good in his outing, and Landon Knack has been good so far, even if we want to see more from him. And then the Dodgers also have to face 2 lefties in a row, so that's a little concerning. We're going to run out some of those platoon lineups that seem to struggle versus lefty quite a bit. So it'll be an interesting series. It's hard to put expectations on them because we know baseball, anything can change in a matter of seconds, and it's just so up and down. But yeah, it'll be a fun series.
Every time I complain about the Dodgers lineup, they go out and win. So it's like, I think that lineup of Kike Hernandez and Rojas and Barnes and, whoever else is in that group, Chris Taylor, like that bottom 4, I think they're undefeated, it feels like. But Matt, to Blake's point, I mean, the Dodgers in their last 7 games have allowed like 1.5 runs per game. They've averaged 6.5 runs scored. The starting pitching has been great. The bullpen has been really, really good. Any reason against the Diamondbacks team that is scuffling that you would expect those things to change besides just the randomness of baseball?
Well, you pointed out how Corbin Carroll is awful this season, so I'm fully expecting him to have the series of his life. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, too, I think we're looking at it from the Dodgers perspective. Diamondbacks, they're under 500 right now, but they are the reigning National League champions. And we've seen it with other teams playing the Dodgers. They do elevate their level of performance and play, and whether motivation and all that stuff. So it wouldn't fully shock me. And let's remember, in the NLDS, it was a Diamondbacks offense that was really putting that was the problem, right? It's not like the Dodgers were just losing in slugfest, like they couldn't keep up with the scoring that their pitchers were giving up. And so it wouldn't fully surprise me if maybe the Diamondbacks outperform what they've been doing recently. And so because of that, yes, Dodgers pitching isn't going to hold them to 1.5 runs per game. But I mean, it'll certainly be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, look, aside from Yamamoto, the Diamondbacks are getting the number 4 and number 5 starter, I guess. I mean, at one point they were the number 4. They're missing Glass now, basically, is the moral of the story here. So let's go out with some predictions here. Blake, 3-game series against the Diamondbacks. How many of the Dodgers winning?
I'll say 2. I feel like that's the easy, safe bet, but probably what's going to end up happening. And can we get an over-under on the Christian Walker homers off Paxton?
Go for it. Do you want to set it? You going?
I'll set it at 1.5.
And you're taking the over or the under? Off of Paxton alone or the whole series?
I'll say the series, but Christian Walker always gives Kershaw problems, and with Kershaw out, it's Paxton stepping into that lefty role. So yeah, Christian Walker always gives the Dodgers some problems there. So I'll take the over in the series.
If Landon Knack gives him one of those 93-mile-an-hour CJ Abrams fastballs right down the middle, that ball might not ever land. I'm taking the under on Christian Walker home runs in the series. I'll stick with 1. And I'm going clean sweep, baby. Dodgers are motivated. They're fired up. They hate the Diamondbacks. 3rd biggest rivals in the division, Matt. They're going for the sweep.
Yeah, well, first, Blake, you don't have to worry about Paxton facing Walker because he's just going to walk him anyway. Like, it's fine. Like, the way his season's been going. I will take the under on the 1.5 home runs in this series. And to bring balance to our show, because I don't ever want us to be perceived as strict homers, I see the Dodgers winning just 1 of 3 against the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks will have a little extra motivation. It's at the end of a long road trip for the Dodgers. I think they're ready to get home. And, quick plug, Blue Diamond Gala later this week that Blake and Scott will be covering. So we'll definitely have videos for that. So I think that all lends to just getting 1 of 3 in the desert.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it is. They're close enough to home. It's like, oh, we're in Arizona. We're not in Washington, D.C. We're not in Toronto anymore. They've got the off day scheduled on Thursday. I mean, I could see things getting sideways there. But this is a focused team, Matt. Mookie Betts has got the guys dialed. Freddie Freeman, no days off for these boys. So I got 3 wins. Blake's got 2. Matt's got 1. And Matt and I have under 1.5 home runs for Christian Walker. Blake's taking the over there. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Over or under on Christian Walker, 1.5 home runs off the Dodgers in this. And then how many of the 3 games do the Dodgers win? That is Matthew Moreno. That is Blake Williams. I am Jeff Spiegel. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, check out DodgerBlue.com. Check out Dodger Blue 1958 on social media. And if you're a podcast person, check out DodgerHeads on Apple, Spotify, and Google as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. As always, go Dodgers.